Welcome to the Hilarity Ensues podcast, hosted by Donna, the queen of quick wit, and Jeff, the dean of devious double entendres. Together, they're on a mission to find the funny in life using nothing but their critical thinking skills and sarcasm.
Hello and welcome to another episode of Hilarity Ensues. I am your host, Donna, and joining me here today is my co-host,
Jeff.
Donna and Jeff are here, bringing you another episode. And today's episode, we're going to talk about a couple of interesting things. But the first thing that we're going to talk about is a website that Jeff introduced me to. So Jeff, tell our listeners about this website and how valuable it could be.
Oh, yeah.
Used properly.
It's a very valuable website. Let me tell the background of how I found it. As we mentioned multiple times, we both like critical thinking. We both have a strong dislike for stupid people or just people lazy, with their questions. You're texting back and forth. Hey, Donna, how's the weather in blah, blah, blah. Like, I wouldn't do that. I would just look it up. Like, okay. Instead of just asking somebody, you could easily look up on the phone. I never understood that. I'm pretty sure, Donna, you never understood that either. But I was getting tired of people doing that. And I have no idea how I stumbled onto it, but probably just typed in, how do you respond to stupid people on text? I don't know. But I found one. It was called LMGTFU or FY, excuse me. And kind of sounds like FU at the end. So it's let me Google that for you. So basically, if you ask a dumb question like, hey, okay, let's do an example. Does Tom Brady still play football? So you just plug it in there. It's got Google at the top, and you just plug it into the search. And then it has two options. One is Google search, which is just a traditional one. And then it has another one that says, I'm feeling lucky. So you pick one or the other, and then it generates a link for you. So if you click on the Google, it'll say, this is Google. This is a question, or how you ask a question in Google. It'll just break it down and talk to you like you're a complete dumbass. And then it'll go, at the end it says, see, that wasn't so hard. The other one, if I remember correctly, it says, I'm feeling lucky. So if you click on that, it's even longer. It's like, this is the internet. You can use the internet to type in Google. It's even more condescending. And it basically, you only really need to send that one time for your people that bother you, because they're probably
I think it's a brilliant idea. I do think it's a brilliant idea because I live in California. I have family and friends that are in New York and Florida, London and Jamaica. And I always have these conversations. We're on the phone and they're like, what's the weather like What's the weather like today in California? Mm-hmm. And I'm like, for me, if I'm not sitting close to my Alexa where I can look and see what the temperature is, I'm going to have to go to my phone and Google that or pull up weather and see what the weather is. And you could do that too. So why do I have to do it?
I don't get that at all.
Why do I have to be your Google for you? Why can't you just use Google?
They want to be lazy. How about, I just thought of this as well. When you get into, let's say, a discussion or argument about whatever it may be, many of the topics that we talked about, superstitions or whatever it may be. And it's like, I heard that you can make water out of bananas or something like that. You just poke it and it just turns into water. And you just be like, no, that's not possible. Sorry. No, I saw it. Look it up. No, why do I have to look it up? We both know that you're wrong. I don't know why you're even talking at this point, but I want to go look up something that I know is foolishness. It just makes zero sense to me. Why do I have to look up your silliness? I'm not your manservant.
What I think should be implemented, I do think that much like you have to get a permit or license to operate a motor vehicle, I think you should get a permit or license to use the internet because people are not being effective in how they utilize that tool and how they post on social media's information. I think there really should be a licensing requirement because I scroll through Instagram and TikTok and people post these random things that are supposed to be factual and they're not. And the first thing I do is I just run to the comments to see how many people are telling them that they're so wrong about this.
Yes. I love the comments. Whoever invented comments, thank you. I love those. That's
You
usually
know,
what
in all
I
actuality, a lot of the times the comments are better than the post.
Yeah, definitely, definitely. The comments are just they break it down. There's so much clickbait. I mean, I know you got to make your money to get your clicks and whatnot, but it just putting stuff just is absolutely false. And I just like seeing people call the person on it. You know, sometimes I'll just put clickbait or something like that, like get this bullshit out of here, something like that. Is just hate that. I probably shouldn't even put the engagement in there. I don't want them to make any money off of that.
Well, that's one of the reasons why people do like these rage posts or whatever they call them. It's because they want the engagement. So the way a lot of platforms work is through likes. And I'm going to insert this here. If you're listening to us on YouTube, like the broadcast. And pretty soon we're going to be coming to you live. So
Yeah.
once we get our subscriber level up to a certain number, I'm not going to share what that is. We're going to start doing once a week lives where we just have random chit chat like what we're doing right now on this broadcast. The likes, the subscribers, and the engagement. Also, if you're resonating with this topic here on YouTube, let us know your thoughts in the comment section.
Yes, please put some comments up in there so we can feed off of that.
You know, we'd love to have a dialogue with you. So that's what's going on is people do things and they post things that they might not necessarily agree with, but you know what? It's good for likes. It's good for clicks. It's good for comment. So that's why they do.
Still annoying though. But yeah, I get it.
Right? But that's what they do. So if you are that person, we're going to go back around the block here, and you're asking random questions to the people in your life that you could necessarily Google for yourself, don't be that person.
Yeah, because they are talking about you one way or the other. They might tell you to the face, but they're definitely telling somebody like, man, can you believe they just asked me how the weather was on the cell phone where you could just type it in and have the answer in less than 30 seconds? Probably less than that, maybe 10 seconds if you could type fast enough.
Actually, less than 10. All you have to do is pull up the weather app and press the button and it'll tell you.
Right. Shout out to Byron Allen.
You know, but in other news here's what I wanted to share with you, Jeff.
What's that?
There's a movie on Netflix called The Deliverance.
Not based on the original one with the squeal like a pig, I hope.
No, not based on that. But if you're listening and you haven't seen the movie yet, there are going to be some spoilers in here. But I will say this. I'm going to take a step back. You remember the Amityville movie that came on back in the day? I want to say it was like in the 80s.
Yes.
Okay.
Pretty scary from what I remember.
Yeah, based off of a very, 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 very true story about a home in Amityville, which is in New York, that was haunted. And I went to the movies, and there's a reason why they have rating systems for movies and why kids of a certain age shouldn't be going to movies. And I want to say this was a rated R movie solely because of the violence and the scare factor in it. And I was not 17 years old, but I went with my cousins while I was visiting in Pennsylvania. And here's the twist on it, Jeff. The home that my cousins lived in looked like the Amityville house.
Oh, damn. Okay.
And my cousin's bedroom was up in the attic. Talk about a girl not being able to sleep for the rest of the summer.
Damn, that's crazy.
So for that reason, I don't have much of an affinity towards scary movies. Comedy's more my thing. I want something to make me laugh. I don't want anything too deep. I think the world we live in is pretty deep enough, so I don't need to add my entertainment and add something deep on top of that. But I kept hearing about this movie, The Deliverance, which is based off of a true story. It's based off of a true story, like Amityville. And it is directed by Lee Daniel, okay? Has a really great cast. It has Glenn Close, Andra Day. It has Omar Epps is in there. Monique is in there. Tasha Smith, Anjanou Ellis-Taylor, really, amongst others. It's really a great cast. And I heard mixed reviews on it. I heard people say, oh, it was horrible. It was slow. And I said, well, let me give it a watch. And like I said, I don't like scary stuff. So there's certain parts of the movie that I will just fast forward through. But bottom line, Andra Day and her 3 kids, she's a single mother. She moves into her home, her new home. And her mother, played by Glenn Close, because she's a biracial child, moves in with them.
Okay.
And there's a lot of things that are going on in that home, such as there's bugs all over the place. And the kid is getting up in the middle of the night and going downstairs and walking in his sleep and all kinds of stuff. And for me, this is just me. The moment they brought dead animals out my basement, because that's where And we've been like, you know what, we need to reassess this here.
Yeah. Time to regroup.
Trying to regroup. But like I said, it's off a true story. And so the youngest child gets possessed by the spirit of a child that died in that house decades prior. And for me, it would have been when I seen his eyes roll back in his head and him start speaking to me in a different language that I've been like, you know what? There's something not right here. There's something. That's not the time for you to be in denial and saying, oh, you know, we're going to pray this out. We're going to work this out. Like, what has changed within the last 30, 60, 90 days?
Yeah.
We moved into this house. I think it's time for us to leave.
Yeah,
so
peace out, for sure. They start rolling the eyes back, speaking in tongues, or just another language?
Just another language. And that he was in a psychiatric center. They had him shackled to the bed. And the kid probably was like 12 years old. They had him shackled to the bed, and he completely busted off of those shackles and climbed up the wall backwards.
Yeah. There's a lot of backwards creepiness. I've seen that in a bunch of movies in recent history.
Yeah,
the remake of The Exorcist had that. The girl crawled down the stairs backwards to freak people out.
Yeah. And so he's in the hospital, and the social worker, played by Monique, and she's like, yeah, there's something wrong here. I saw this kid do this. There's something very wrong here. And the doctor's like, nah, they're trying to dismiss it. Nah. And then finally, one of the doctors is coming up and asks the nurse, have you been in the room? She's like, I'm not going back there. Because she has sense. She was like, I've heard the stuff that's going on in that room. I'm not going in there.
Not everybody needs to be a witness to that.
Not everyone needs to be a witness. So it was an entertaining watch. From what I understand, there was some variations of the story that were modified, but the underlying premise of it, it really did happen. To the point, I want to say they demolished the house, I want to say in 2016. They tore it to the ground. Because would you move in there, Jeff?
Hell no. Did they kill all the spirits, though?
Actually, they demolished it down to the ground because they said that the spirits were still in there. But in that neighborhood, the spirits are still there. So, you know, if you're listening out there, this is where you ask your realtor a lot of questions.
For real.
You know, this home that I'm renting, this home that I'm about to buy, has anybody died in there? Because in full disclosure, if you ask those questions, they have to be honest. Mm-hmm. Because if they're not honest, that's withholding information, and you're able to break your contract with them later on. Has anyone died? Has anyone been murdered? Any dead bodies found in there? Any spirits? Any stories, urban legends as it relates to this house?
Let me know. On Indian burial ground or some kind of crazy cemetery from back in the day.
What's going on? How long has it been empty? How many people have lived in here? How long have they lived here? If you see that tenants are moving in and out every 3 to 6 months, there's something wrong. Look at the rental history.
I'm not really a big believer in spirits and whatnot, but if I see a track record of people, or just hear about people running out screaming bloody murder, I'm not going to go investigate. I'll let them do that. They already did it.
Yeah, I'll take your word for that. I'm not going to play Columbo and kind of research this out. But for those of you that are listening, go to Netflix, check out The Deliverance, and let us know in the comments what your thought was on that movie.
Seen any other good movies lately? I saw one, but it wasn't, I don't even know if it's even worth talking about, but I'll bring it up if you don't have another one.
What movie did you see?
I saw Trap. And this
Never saw it.
Okay, it just came out. M. Night Shyamalan. A lot of you probably know the name. It has a history of not cliffhangers, but just sharp turns where you think you know, like it's kind of a simple thing. You're like, oh, okay. Spoiler alert, his first big one, Sixth Sense. I'm usually pretty good at picking out what happened. I can't believe I missed, but Bruce Willis is dead the whole time. Again, spoiler alert. That's like 25 years old. But it was right there in your face. And anyway, that was his OG movie. So his main, I think, thing is just writing movies where you think you know what's going to happen, and then there's a crazy twist at the end. So basically, I think it's Josh Hartnett. I know the name, and I know I've seen him in other movies, so I guess he's somewhat famous. He plays the dad, kind of the overprotective dad, taking his daughter to this pop star's concert. Mm-hmm. And this one will have some spoilers, probably. The pop star just happens to be the daughter of M. Night Shyamalan. So that was a little corny. You know me, even though it's a movie, I like to try to keep it somewhat realistic, but they did cover some parts. You know, like I'm sure, Donna, you're familiar with concerts and young kids, or just even older people, instead of actually watching the concert, they're putting up their phone and recording it so they can send it to somebody on social media. Instead of actually enjoying the moment, they're like, hold up this, and my arm is wiggling and straining to stay at the same position. But yeah, there was a lot of that. Anyway, she did. That might have been an indictment on the pop culture or the pop music, because this chick, I don't even know if she was singing or not, but it was just so basic. It was all auto-tune, little basic dances, and they were going crazy. So I don't know if he was trying to make fun of it or that's just what they had. The trap was based on some profiling. Some lady who was a pro at picking out or just deciphering what's going to happen next in terms of a serial killer. So allegedly, there was a serial killer who bought tickets to this concert, and the whole concert was a trap. I don't understand how that was a trap, but apparently they got some information. So Josh Hartnett, from minute one, is already acting weird and crazy. His daughter's like, "Dad, you're acting strange. What's wrong with you?" And he kept like leaving the seat and coming back and just trying to listen in on all the conversations. I'm just looking like, all right, I'm pretty sure he's the killer. At first, when I saw the preview, I thought he was like a policeman trying to find out who did it, and he's going to capture him. But no, it was pretty obvious. And he kept going back and forth and back and forth. There's a lot of cat and mouse game, where security was super, super tight. And this dude just found a way to just slide here, slide there. And I was at the point where they're like, okay, we know he's still here. He's going to try to do a distraction. The man did a distraction. He did this. He's going to try to do this. No, we got it all covered. We know it's a man, because most serial killers are, unfortunately. No shout out to the guys. But anyway, so so it got down to the very end where they're like, all right, well, we know he's going to come out soon. And he did just an unbelievable turn of events and somehow got out without being patted down or interviewed. I don't want to ruin that part, but it was like, how the hell did that happen? Only in the movies. So after they got out, you figured, okay, they're about to get away. Then something else happened. So I'm like, okay, this is where it ends. Nope, something that the tables got turned on him. And it was pretty crazy. I mean, if you like it's not really a whodunit, because it's pretty obviously who the guy is. It's just the gist of it is how he escapes and how he uses other people as pawns in this game, and then how they kind
of like chess.
Yeah, pretty much. And another thing toward the end, I don't want to call it a certain type of privilege, but it's just movie shit. But when they finally got this dude locked, by the way, he may or may not have been alive if he looked a different way. Let's put it that way. I want to make it all about that. But they cuffed him up. He said, wait, I need to do this. And they're like, okay, they just let him do it. Whatever it was, it's like, why did you let him do that? He could have hurt you, done something, stashed something, pulled something off of it. But it was a crazy ending / question mark, because it wasn't quite over. Like, they think it's over, but it's not really over. But I give it a 6.5. It was all right.
Okay, sister.
Yeah, something like that. I don't want to give it a thumbs up, thumbs down. It's better than average. I mean, it was cool how he got out, even though I don't think it would really work. But it's a movie. You got to suspend your belief. So that's why that's an unpleasant part of watching a movie with me, because I'm like breaking it down. No, it's fiction. I'm like, well, how would he be able to do that? How would he just walk out? That don't make no sense.
I used to. A friend of mine, she was a writer for Hollywood for many years, and I would always do the same thing. I'm like, why did that happen? And she's like, because it was written that way. That's why it happened.
Yeah, I think I need somebody to break that down for me too. That'll be our few and far between stupid questions. Like, why did that happen? Well, that was in the script. Like, oh, okay, that is funny. So,
all right, well, we're gonna go ahead and we're gonna wind this episode down. Anything else you want to add, Jeff, for our listeners?
If you write a movie, try to keep it real. No, nothing added on to that. Just make sure you like, subscribe, and comment all the way to the end on Spreaker now. We're on YouTube. I don't have my cheat sheet. Spotify.
And a couple other audio.
IG.
We are on IG. TikTok. Hilarity Ensues podcast.
Yes, look us up and spread the word. Share the show with everybody that you know. Even M. Night Shyamalan and his daughter, if you want.
And like Jeff said, listen to the end, because we need those download numbers. Thank you for tuning in, and we'll catch you again next week. Goodbye for now.
Take care.
Thank you for tuning in to today's episode of Hilarity Ensues. Our fantastic music soundtrack is brought to you by TL Music Productions exclusively for Hilarity Ensues. Be sure to connect with us on social media by following Hilarity Ensues Podcast.